Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock and we're on series 2 at the moment. Today I am joined by Katerina Hayes. She's the founder of Naked Kimchi, and Naked Kimchi is a food and drink manufacturer based in Glasgow. And their mission is to cultivate a new approach to nutrition and well-being while contributing to food security and shaping the future of food in Scotland and beyond. They are committed to fostering a community where everyone can thrive and enjoy the benefits of a nourishing diet, both now and for generations to come, thus ensuring food security, the circular economy, and advancing the future of food. So welcome, Katerina. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Kirsty. Thank you so much for having me here.
The thing I find most fascinating in the research I've done on you is you have established a food business, but prior to that, your first career was in the oil and gas industry, where you progressed to having some very senior roles, where you regularly worked offshore. How did you get into the oil and gas industry to start with?
It was by accident. At that time, I was around 18, 19 years old. And actually, to be honest, I had no place where to stay, where to live. And the only job I could thought I need to get is something that will provide shelter and food. It was as simple as that. That time, I moved from Ukraine to Russia to see my dad. And then I thought, like, I need to do something. I was studied law at that time, and so I got this job, which was interpreter in horizontal direct drilling, secretary interpreter, and which is I had no idea about. I had that time I haven't had good knowledge in English, just very basic, and neither technical education, but I convinced head of a translation department to give me a chance to excel, and I convinced him that I will learn so fast that he will be surprised. So so this is how I got my first job in oil and gas, and then it's progressed to admin roles, and then technical assistant roles, quality control, contracts, and I actually took the most out of the being in the oil and gas EPC projects, because we built quite huge plants north of Sakhalin Island, where I will finish my 12-hour job, and then I would use my connection in the health and safety, went through the all necessary training, and then I will go on the night shift and see how's the new equipment installed, how's the compressors run, turbines, like all those things that I was so fascinated, because I've been kind of in that environment, and I thought I need to take the most of it to find out what exactly do I want, because I want to study afterwards to actually get myself a qualification. So I would say, like, on the very early stages, I was kind of self-taught, and just took the most of opportunity what I had.
And you've worked and studied all over the world, haven't you?
So during the oil and gas projects, I find out that actually oil and gas company can sponsor education. I was for 4 years, I was saving money to pursue career. And then it's supposed to be either civil engineering or measurement and control. And so it took me like 4 years to basically save, because I've been working, like, you usually work for 10 weeks onshore projects non-stop without holidays, and then you take 2 weeks off and then come back again. So this is what I did for 4 years. And then I was trying to figure out, okay, I got this money, how I can get and study abroad. So I found out that one of the companies, they sponsor education in Canada and another in Australia. And but Australian company was a little bit too late to offer because I already accepted for to study in Canada. So this is where I kind of continued my education in instrumentation engineering in Calgary.
And when you went to Canada, did you find it a very different working environment to what you were used to?
Yeah, so in oil and gas project in Sakhalin Island, we had 35 nationalities from around the world. So we had such a diverse, nationalities and languages and cultures. We always been, I would say together, united, very respectful to each other and helpful. And this is, I think, this is the way I've been given to kind of progress. Whatever I took on, I've been said I always had a green light because I've been so wanted to learn, and I was get myself involved in everything, even though my role was like, kind of admin job, but I got myself in engineering and the health and safety aspect and everything. So when I moved to Canada, uh, especially in Calgary, because again, there is so many different cultures, and I think for me it was like refreshing. I would say that I had um, math, specifically on the math teacher who wasn't so welcoming of the immigrants and people who study abroad. So I quite had some hate, I would say that, but that time I didn't know how to handle it because now like I'm looking back and I thought I should just joke with him, and but that time I took it so personally and it was so painful that I had to drop off of my math class and ask for actually different teacher.
I think it's difficult, isn't it? The younger we are, the less experience we have to be able to deal with those sort of things. And it's sad that people like yourself go through those experiences. And we know that people are still going through similar experiences at the moment, don't they, in whatever part of the world they're in. It seems to be part of human nature to be scared of people who are different, and to react in a negative way sometimes rather than a positive. You have also been to countries that really inspired you to set up your own business. So when you moved to Glasgow, um, I read that you actually missed sort of the flavors that you'd experienced in countries like Korea. And you found that, unlike where you'd grown up in Ukraine, where fermenting food is a way of life, we don't do that over here in the UK. So why why did you start Naked Kimchi? How did you get from being in the oil and gas industry for decades into starting a food business? How did you do that?
Yeah, so I already knew that I'm going to be quitting oil and gas job. It was 2020. First, like I think it was on the mental kind of side because I start to have actually panic attacks every now and then they become a little bit more uh, obvious. And then I thought like something going on, and I just had actually mental meltdown, and I said, and actually it was not just from the nowhere. That happened actually by my colleague who influenced that state, and I was on the night shift, and I was turning to the day shift, and he arrived, and it was simple that probably I didn't saw him or I didn't say hi to him night before or something like that when I was finishing my shift, and then in the morning, and he's the ex-Navy person, and he would, and I came on time, 6 o'clock sharp, but previously I took like half a day because I've been advised by the safety reasons to take a little bit more time to recover from the night shift to the day shift, and the reason why I'm talking about, I think it's very important to actually navigate why those things happen. That did not happen from the vacuum. And basically, he would come and he will tell me that, specific messages like, you're late, you are this, and I'm 6 o'clock in the morning, like I'm just turning shift, been working for the night shift, and then turning for a week, and then turning for the day shift. And I couldn't understand. And in same time, there is a lot of things happened at home that I couldn't be with my children. And basically there is some situations that people who was looking after my children was feeling, tried to feel me guilty, make me feel guilty. So the accumulation of everything, of the pressure that I couldn't handle, and I had just meltdown, and I couldn't stop, and I said, like, why do you talk to me, what did I do to you to to basically to have this conversation with me by telling me that I'm already failed. Is this 6 o'clock in the morning? We haven't even started toolbox meeting, and I'm just like, and I felt like ground just went off my feet. So there is a lot of things. There is a lot of little things, but it's real. And why I'm saying it's real, that not I've been working offshore for 8 years, and some men couldn't work there for a week or 2 weeks or a few months. They would have those mental breakdowns, and in
Yeah.
the male industry is very real. So even for me, for being women, it's not about I'm saying that, oh, I'm so soft and everything like that. No, we are all humans, and actually, this is real situations where so many people, and I'm talking people, men and women, actually having those mental breakdowns, and it's like, to be able to address it in the right way. So I haven't told the reason why, because I knew he would lose his job, actually, and I actually probably should, but and I said to him, like, Dave, what's going on? Like, why you speak to me like that? And I, like, did I deserve it? Like, I know how you speak with other females. Like, what did I do to you? And so it's been a combination of things. And yeah, and I said, please call the helicopter right now and just get me out of here, because like I couldn't stand a second to be on this, ship, and the oil platform. And that's it. Basically, I never looked back. And I still in touch with all my kind of crews and my, colleagues who is male. And I really, I think we had an amazing team. But sometimes those things, happen, little bit of uh, bullying, and how to actually handle that. Sometimes you can't really, and that situation that I couldn't really handle and protect myself, because I was in very, combination of things, lack of sleep, a lot of pressure at home, and basically it's affecting. So that time when I got home, I already had one startup that I was piloting that way. It was cleaning water from nanomicroplastic, and that it was such a huge project that I realized I couldn't deliver. It was like 5 million proceeds. I had no experience in that kind of uh, entrepreneurship journey at all. And then I thought, well, what I can do, something easy, something that I can do with 20 pounds, and let it be experiment. And I already been doing kimchi, because when I moved from Sakhalin Island, this is where how I kind of I grew up in Ukraine. Fermentation is the way of life for us. This is embedded in our heritage, in our cultural identity. Sauerkraut, all the fermented food that we actually fermented during the harvest in the autumn, and this is our part of our huge part of our food security in Ukraine and the all kind of Slavic, nations. And then I thought, okay, I'll just give it a go, and I'll just do the kimchi, because I've been doing kimchi and I given to friends and family, and shared my different recipes. So this is how I started in my kitchen from, just as experiment. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money, or I was like, kind of pressurized by. I thought I just wanted to experience how it's to have entrepreneurship journey and how it's to build something. So and then it's evolved, and then it started to mold into something different. That's it's
And
affect.
you've obviously evolved with it because, as you say, you didn't sort of have experience as being an entrepreneur or business owner to start with. So you've learned as you've gone along. Um, and I'm sure that the resilience from your previous career will have helped you, the problem solving, um, the teamwork, the performing under pressure. All of that will have helped you. And I want to touch on the fact that obviously you're from Ukraine, and there's obviously war in Ukraine at the moment. Um, you have been instrumental in helping refugees settle in Glasgow, refugees from Ukraine. You've helped them find roles, helped them find jobs. So some of them are now dance teachers, nail technicians. They are working in your own business. How much how much do you feel that that's fulfilling you as a person, being able to help these people?
Yeah, so as I said, mission is evolved, and this is where, suddenly 2022, I had to move my family, my cousin, my nephew, my friends, and, my mom joined the business. Basically, she was, chopping, helping me to. And then one day and then my cousin joined as well, and then someone else called me, and prior to that I was involved with this humanitarian aid. Basically we did like a campaign and tried to raise some funds, some collect some clothes, because I have family in Ukraine, I have friends, and as well as I have family in Russia, I have family in Kazakhstan, and we actually all the past USSR, we all connected. So it was we and in Glasgow we have huge Russian speaking community from all over past USSR. So for all of us, it's been such a devastating moment of things that happening since Second World War. And it's something that it was, we're shocked, we are, everything, and we united, and we, try to do something about it. And also, and then the more people start to come in and asking for help, and this is where community interest company has happened, which is I was running among in the same time of Naked Kimchi. So I was employing people in the Naked Kimchi, to kind of basically onboarding people who had completely different backgrounds. And it's good that we spoke same language, so I able to they didn't need to like learn English, so I had to translate everything, all the procedures, get them training, and they just can start and work. um, so I would say, and then community interest company, of course, this is the another way that where beauty technicians got accreditations, they worked, some things worked, some things didn't work, and it's definitely made me a little bit more wiser, I would say, and resilience indeed. And you touched a very interesting point that being an engineer in engineering environment, you actually have so many transferable skills that you can apply to so many things. And I think I grew up in Ukraine, and we had mandatory subjects for biology, chemistry, science, engineering, math, of course, algebra, geometry, etc., etc., etc. Even though I never knew that I will be an engineer, but those skill sets actually helped me to be flexible to finding my career to be engineer, but also and grow as an engineer, but also change my direction and adapt to different circumstances. So I think that engineering in like in general, those science, math, those that knowledge is always will be staying with you because it will give you different perspective, but also give you the skills to adapt and being flexible whatever you want to do, because by each skill set it will adapt, and I transferred my skill set enormously to fermentation industry. And I was surprised that everything what we did on the risk assessments I actually had to do on the food safety risk assessments. So actually, I knew the metrics, I knew kind of the way, and I had to create this standard operating procedures, etc., etc. So it's been phenomenal, and I'm so grateful that I know that because it helped me to progress my business. It saved me time, it saved me money, but also it really got me into that, goal task complete. So kind of got me into the structure as well.
And I mean, the basic premise of an engineer is they fix things and make them better, don't they? That's what engineers do. Um, so that's what you're applying to Naked Kimchi, with your background. And I think you're right. I think having um, the maths, the STEM subjects, as a young woman or as a child, it gives you that foundation to sort of stand on, and gives you something that you never think you're going to apply it, but then you do, and it comes back. And we don't sort of realize that, do we, when we're young. Um, you also talk about um, how it helped you with risk assessment, standard operating procedures. So it sort of gave you almost like a business in a box. You'd got the skills to set up a business in a box from your previous career. And one of the things I know that you are very passionate about, along with the incredible work you do helping refugees, is you are now a micro angel investor. So when we talk about paying it forward, you're already there. And that's through Mint Ventures, which is a women led angel investment group, focusing on making angel investment more accessible to women from diverse business backgrounds. And what's really interesting is you all invest in products and services that really drill down into a social, ethical, or environmental purpose, particularly targeting the needs and interests of women. I Why? I mean, I know why, but how did you get into this? And how can other people join you in doing this?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. Actually, I had this idea. I look at this shiny, it's like a shiny object, and you're thinking like this is the VCs, like venture capitalists, this is the angel investors, and like how do they get there? How do they progress to be, angel investor? And I just love the word angel. Because this is something that I would love to be one day, one of the angels. And by accident, I actually went to one of the events where Mint Ventures were presenting a few years ago, in Glasgow. And by accident, I went on investors meeting, and then instead of entrepreneurship meeting. And I'm glad that I did, because I just invited myself. And
That seems to work. I carry
uh,
on inviting yourself.
yeah, just invite yourself. And then I find out that suddenly I'm sitting with women who have generational wealth, like, family offices. They are, expanding their portfolio. And then, and other women who were entrepreneurs, and then they had exits, and then they start to invest. And then usually something very inaccessible, in our society, that you to be angel investor, you need to be like, you need to earn thousands, hundreds, millions, and it's something that is never accessible. But to my surprise, it's like I had this kind of aha moment that actually, apparently, there is the different route that you can go through the training with Mint Ventures, and after 6 months and within 2 years, you can just start to invest with £2,000, which is, if you go to the different angel investor groups, it's usually minimum 20,000, 40,000, 50, and etc. per ticket. So this money actually can start like, it's like, okay, if you are professional and you are in a very good job, either you go and buy yourself a bag or shoes, or you actually invest in somebody else business that will make such a huge difference to economy, lives of those founders and people, and they like, the local need for that investment, and even small amount, it's really make a difference. So and I thought that's a genius. So I was like, I had this dopamine kick, and I'm like, that's it, like I'm going to be I'm going to be angel, like I find out the secret code. So I was so excited about it, and I'm like, how can I join, like where do I start? So, and I just immediately joined, and going through the uh, so you need to go through the educational part, which is you can finish within 6 months. But the more important is community, because suddenly you just start to learn from women who have greater experience than yours, the way they think. And we have to understand that women are, majority of them also came from engineering background, and who somehow involved either through finance, through like accountancy, law, engineering, of course, some or university PhDs, etc. And that somehow some of them inherited uh, wealth, and some of them they actually self-made. So and I think this is the amazing opportunity to start to create not just legacy for yourself as a woman and you for your children, because that knowledge is have to be passed on to your next, your children and generation, because this is the mindset that you actually start to develop over the time, that you not only take but you actually give back. And of course, for being an angel investor, when you build your business, and I'm talking about from the founder's point of view right now, can you imagine, you can at some point you're going to have turnover, you're going to get yourself salary, and that money will disappear so quickly because you need to pay for this, you need to pay for that, and then it's never ending. It's always will be something that you earn money, you will spend, and what else? And by investing in different companies and actually growing your portfolio, what allow you to do, actually all your hard made money by sweat and tears and blood, literally, you can actually, they work for you, they grow for you, but also they make impact on other female businesses, which is, I think this is phenomenal. So what Mint Venture do, they are, I would say, only one of the angel investment group that have such a low entrance point to become angel investor. And I think, if you are listening this podcast, this is sign for you that you have to join Mint Ventures. You can get in touch with me. I'm specifically ambassador for Glasgow area, and now I'm basically stimulating, among the other things what I'm doing, I'm stimulating investments as well among the female entrepreneurs.
It's timely reminder talking about investment in women owned businesses with the Innovate UK announcement this week and the complaints against them, and then them apologising and putting it right within 24 hours, which we mentioned before I hit record. And I honestly did not know that there were angel investment companies that started solo. I've been in a couple of angel investment networking events, and I think the minimum that I heard was 50 grand, which is lovely. But I don't have 50 grand to spare. I don't have 50 grand. But it's the sort of thing that I might be able to do that when I'm retired. But actually, it's probably, probably more use now while I have contacts, while I'm active in my business life, to someone I'm investing in, rather than 5 years after I've retired. So I think that's really, really interesting. And, you know, from little acorns, big things grow. It's not everybody needs 100 grand to get their startup off the ground. You know, it can be done with a small amount of money. And that's absolutely fascinating. And you talk about various other things that you're doing. And we need to touch on, you know, the awards and things that you've won as well. So last year you won the food and drink category in the Great British Businesswoman Awards. And this year you are a judge. So you are judging the entrants. I think nominations closed, didn't they, in August? Have I got that right?
No, they extended to the 6th, actually, for today midnight. They extended, yeah.
So they're closing at midnight today, which is the 6th of September. So when this goes out in a couple of weeks, you'll be getting ready to judge the nominees and with the other judges. And are you excited about doing that? Are you looking for someone who has a similar passion for community, or are you going to have a completely open mind?
I think this open mind is completely, you know, it's necessary, and it's all about being a judge. Will be my, I would say, first experience, and I know women who had significant impact, you know, into the industry and the different, you know, aspects, and a lot of women who I know, and I'm so grateful to know. They always, you know, the amount of how they changing different industries is just phenomenal. So I'm always cheering for, you know, it's the number of things that actually count. And also I've been approached by Speech UK. So they asked me to be judge on the 19th of September as well in Glasgow. So I'm looking forward to that. So that will be specifically on the tech startups.
Oh, wow.
So that's just really, really exciting. And I think it's kind of give me a little bit different edge that I can be in a nominee. And also this year we won Scottish Age Awards of 65K towards our Naked Kimchi equipment and, you know, scaling up business. And
that's brilliant.
so that kind of experience of being on the other side, but also exactly from the angel investment point of view, what things that angel investment looking at, I think is really great exercise. So I'm looking into that again. It's like a practice, something that I would like to learn more about and apply my knowledge from angel investment point of view, but also I understand how it's terrifying to be on the other side, you know. And it's, you know, a lot of people, specifically I think as uh, male and female, they both, you know, going through the same thing, but I think females a little bit need some some encouragement. I think a lot of women actually shy to talk about the you know, things what they do.
I think, well, we're told, aren't we, when we're little growing up, little girls should be seen and not heard, and we have to be quiet and pretty and polite and helpful and not run around shouting and making a lot of
I guess,
noise.
I heard that when I come here, but I never had that when we grow up. Like
Oh,
haven't had that experience, unfortunately.
oh,
So
wow.
for me,
I mean, obviously there are always going to be cultural differences, but yeah, that's pretty much a UK based thing. Yeah, very much. So going back
we my
generations.
yeah. So I think, and that's why I was surprised because we actually never had like women actually was the force of the economy. Who the amount of women business women in 90s after USSR broke down, actually we had no men because of the Second World War, and actually a lot of women who led a lot of like serious businesses, and we never had that, I don't know, that kind of somebody talk to you, because everyone would encourage, like if you're a girl, you want to be a doctor or the lawyer or engineer. We had so many, actually women engineer, and I think that kind of thing that's is have to now, hopefully that mentality will retire, and
Mm,
you no longer actually will be talking about it, because you know uh, it's so unnecessary, because everyone, doesn't matter you're man or woman. I think it's like the personality and the opportunity for everyone equally there, like, and then to choosing your calling is so important. And I think, like, coming back to the kind of parenting, and I think it's like to really see the potential of your children and
mm,
support that potential, but also that environment, because we grow up probably with we've been so streamlined into the math, into the science, into the all those STEM, naturally, as well as the music, because music and art is so important part of the entrepreneurship, as well as the engineering as well. So it's like all the combination of the all subjects. If you have that opportunity for a child to provide with the all everything that you can, I think that would be happy days, really.
oh,
So
oh, for happy days. Wouldn't it be nice if we all had happy days? All of us forever. It's unfortunately humanity does not tend to like happy days, do we? Um,
it's
Katerina,
probably we're going to the second topic, like I have very
I knew we'd run over because there's just so much to fit in, because you've done so much. But one final question I'd like to ask you: what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think the best piece of advice that I received, it wasn't best.
Okay.
Because what seemingly was repeating is like, concentrate on one thing and just do one thing only. And I think it's really bad advice, because I think you just, because some, we have different different people think differently. And I think as if you have your calling, something that you are think is the right to do, and in my case, this is what happens. I concentrated on the different projects, and I do them in specific manner, that I have special blogs for them. I now have my system, and I think I actually probably HDHD, probably, but so, and I think I haven't diagnosed, but I think I'm kind of like meeting people and they're talking about it. I'm like, interesting. Anyway, so make things work for you, and be like, sometimes you can hear so many advices, but hear yourself out. I think this is the best advice: listening to yourself rather than advices.
It's holding true to your own beliefs, isn't it? And trusting to your gut.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you so much, Katerina. It's been absolutely fascinating, and I can't wait to see what else you achieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsty, and I'm looking forward to see you at Mint Ventures. Bye bye.